Good news! The popular replicas of Humarex, the HK416D and the 416 CQB, have finally been upgraded. For quite some time, these replicas have been the most used 416 replicas you will encounter on the field. Thanks in part to the sleek appearance, which is almost one-to-one with the real firearm, these are perhaps the most popular HK replicas. Since these models have been around for quite some time, Humarex have recently provided these replicas with external and internal upgrades, making them up-to-date and competitive with the current market. Time to dive right in. I have both the new V3 models and the older V2 models from Humarex in front of me, so that we can show and compare exactly what has changed. Let's start with the outside, specifically the outer barrel. In the case of the 416D, both the flash hider and the outer barrel are made of steel. The same goes for the CQB variant, but this one lacks the extended outer barrel that the D variant has, making it less noticeable. The fact that these parts are made of steel generally gives the replica a more realistic weight and weight distribution, which can contribute to the experience and immersion on the field. It may be less visible on the camera, but the coating is slightly more matte than the older models. The outer barrel extension can be removed, so that it can be converted to the CQB model. But note that the inner barrel continues inside the outer barrel extension. So if you want to shorten the replica or convert it to the CQB model, you will have to install a shorter inner barrel or use a suppressor that covers the original one. If we go a little further back, we arrive at the handguard. It contains 4 Picatinny rails on which a variety of accessories can be mounted. This handguard is the same on both the old and the new V3 models, with one minor difference. The screw that holds the handguard in place is black on the new models, where it was previously grey. This complements the rest of the replica as it is also black. We also find a Picatinny front sight on this handguard as standard. When we look closely underneath this handguard, where the rest of the outer barrel is located, we can see 2 markings. The name of the replica, either HK416D V3 or HK416 CQB V3. And next to it we see the caliber of the replica, 6mm BB. These small details are new to the V3 models. Speaking of markings, let's move on to the receiver, where the markings have been adjusted slightly. On the older models, the caliber marking can be found on the side of the receiver, just above the pistol grip. But on the newer V3 models, it can be found on both the outer barrel, as just mentioned, and inside the trigger guard. In addition, the markings around the selector switch have been slightly changed. These are a fraction smaller, deeper engraved and have a better finish. The rest of the markings on both replicas are the same as the older models, such as the HK logos, a serial number and a warning on the front. What's a nice new detail is the dust cover. Where it used to be made of aluminium, which you can find on many M4 replicas, it's now made of polymer, just like the real firearm. As you may have just noticed, the new models now also contain a selector switch that can be operated from both sides. As a result, the replica can be used comfortably for both left and right-handed players. This selector switch is easy and smooth to operate, something that sometimes feels stiffer on older Humarex models. The rear sight, charging handle, magazine release, bolt release and all other parts have remained the same. So, to summarize, the externals have become even sleeker and better finished. Something that was already outstanding with these Humarex replicas and are one of their characteristic features. On to the internals. To improve the precision of the replica, Humarex has replaced the inner barrel of this replica from a brass barrel to a 6.03mm precision barrel made of aluminum with a black coating. This change in material has made this part significantly lighter in weight, going from 99 grams to just 38 grams for the 416D model. At the end of this inner barrel we find the same plastic rotary hop-up that gives notable clicks during adjustment. The gearbox has also been updated. These new models contain an Avalon gearbox, just like the HK416A5 from Humarex. This gearbox offers the possibility for ambidextrous operation. Partly because of this, these latest models contain a double fire selector. In addition, this gearbox offers a quick spring change system, so that the power and speed of the replica can be easily adjusted without taking the entire gearbox apart. This mechanism is accessible by removing the buffer tube, which can be easily unscrewed with a small grub screw. Furthermore, the gearbox contains an ETU, or better known as an electronic trigger unit. This ensures that the trigger has a higher sensitivity and a noticeable click when pulled. In collaboration with this ETU, these V3 models contain a new MOSFET with a different fuse. This small device ensures that the replica is protected against overload. For more information about what a MOSFET is and what it does, watch this video on our channel. According to the information we have received from Umarex, the new models also contain an improved motor. Only when we look at the motor, we don't see a difference in appearance. This of course means nothing, because after some testing, the replica does feel snappier than the older model. This is probably due to the combination of the new motor and the ETU. As before, these replicas are fitted with a Mini Tamiya connection that is situated inside the buffer tube. Finally, what completes the replica is the magazine. Where previously a high cap magazine could be found that had to be wound up with a key, the V3 models finally contain a 120 rounds mid-cap magazine. And as before, it features all the original Heckler and Koch markings, adding to the overall look and feel of the replica. All in all, many changes and adjustments have been made to the new HK416D V3 and HK416 CQB V3, which make these replicas interesting not only for their appearance, but also for the internals, and keep them up to date with new innovations in the airsoft world. If you'd like to test these replicas for yourself, you can of course drop by in our store. In addition, you can also order them straight away on our website krale.shop if you can't wait any longer. Don't forget to subscribe, and see you next time.